Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at patreon.com/inspired disorder.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Swipe up the 160th episode of the show where I talk about stuff that I saw on Instagram and want to share it and share my thoughts on it. And let's get it started, shall we? Trying to be more positive in general on the show, positive energy. And, you know, with the news and current events, it's very easy to get angry. There's a lot of bad things happening, and a lot of people, not only bad things, a lot of people making a lot of money profiting off of these bad things. And then there's people whose job it is to stop the bad things. And a lot of the times they're just doing the same bad things. It's kind of rough out there. So as a departure from that, let's talk about some good things. Jonah Hill, great actor, funny guy, somebody I can relate to as far as having different weight issues throughout his life, having lived at different body sizes. Most known for being the large guy and more recently losing the weight, which it feels like maybe he's gone up and down. But in this post here, I know you mean well, but I kindly ask that you not comment on my body. Good or bad, I want to politely let you know it's not helpful and doesn't feel good. Much respect. And I completely agree with that. One, like, it's his personal thing. Of course, people like to feel good. They like to congratulate somebody on doing a thing, but he's doing that thing for his own reasons. And you attaching yourself to it, maybe, I mean, I don't know necessarily the background, but I feel the sentiments from that. Because as somebody, I grew up fat, I grew up overweight. There's been chunks of my life where I've been thin, and it's amazing how different people treat you when you are in shape and thin than when you are fat. And it's something that, you know, because I know I'm used to all of the hack things that people say to refer to fat. It's like these openly like assholey things you can say to fat, these, like, I guess you would call them microaggressions, but it's just like people constantly referring, your identity is wrapped up in the fact that you have excess weight around your waist. Like, that becomes your identity. Like, oh, you're the fat guy. Oh, you're big guy. Okay, big guy. Right? That's who you become. That's your identity. Not anything else you do. Not any aspect of yourself that is you know, unique to you or something that you actually care about. But people love to feed fat people. Like, you want to get extra food on the regular, be fat. People love to feed fat people. Like, they love to feed you. And that's like not doing any, like, they just assume and they just try and feed you as much as possible. It's this weird thing. And then as far as, like, when you get thin, like, people just treat you nice for no reason. They don't know anything about you, but there's a level of, like, it's like you know, similar to white privilege. It's thin privilege. Thin people, attractive people get, like, preferential treatment. Like, all the time. Like, think about, like, I mean, aside from maybe, like, promotions or something, but even still, attractive people get preferential treatment. Like, so many rules and laws can be broken based on your attractiveness. Plain and simple. Like, you want to get away with something, be attractive, and you got a better chance at getting away with it. There's just a lot. I mean, it's a privilege. And yeah, okay, yeah, you can lose weight. It's unlike, the melanin in your skin. Yeah, you can lose weight. But it's not just like easy to lose weight. Like anybody changing their lifestyle for any reason, whether it's to lose weight or not lose weight, just to be healthy, to cut something out of your diet, to work out, to get good at something, to spend the time, just to make a healthy habit in your life become automatic. Not easy. Most people don't want to do it. We don't live in a culture that rewards long-term benefits. And like I said, people love to feed fat people. People love it. They love loading you up. They love talking shit when you don't eat as much as they think you should eat. It's ridiculous. It's gross. So Jonah Hill doesn't want people, like, his identity shouldn't be like, oh, is he fat Jonah or thin Jonah? Like, that's not his identity. Should be completely apart from that. I think he's a great actor, and I agree with it. I'm sure, like, all the bro dudes out there and bro women, all those like CrossFitters and like the people that really value appearance. I mean, yeah, they're healthier, whatever, questionable, I'm sure, their health, but they're in shape. But there is a huge judgment placed on, like, when your identity is wrapped up in like looking good. The people that don't fit your aesthetic standards tend to be lower class humans, which is sad. Sad that we live in that kind of a world. But let's move on. Let's move on to this awesome side-by-side comparisons from the show Squid Game, which I reviewed last week, 2 weeks ago. Amazing show on Netflix. One of the most popular shows known to mankind. And there was a lot. I mean, for sure, unmistakable, the staircase that, is complete MC Escher. But also the scream face, which I didn't realize. You got the, this is not even going to let me do it. You have the staircase, MC Escher. You have the triangle table, which I didn't even know. I didn't know that was from a thing. And then you have the face mask that the super wealthy people, there's like a surrealist ball thing that the Rothschilds attended that is kind of evocative of the giant masks that were worn. But yeah, it's a great show. But it's to have like that extra layer of like, oh, we're gonna reference like high art in this, like amazing. It's amazing. I mean, the show in general, I think, is going to be my next show that I do an episode by episode breakdown. It kind of scares me a little bit, but that's kind of why I want to do it, just because the show's so good. And it's it's a Korean show, so I'm gonna have to read subtitles and all that stuff, but I don't know. It feels like a good challenge. It feels like a challenge that I'm going to enjoy. So I love that there's this extra layer of references in this to find to amazing artwork. And it's cool seeing the side by side stuff. Obviously. A little over 4 years ago, I started The Many Faces. It's an ongoing series of abstract ink portraits. Each piece is improvised. Each piece is released daily. Start collecting now. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/TMF. That stands for The Many Faces. And save yourself 25% when you use coupon code RTS. That stands for The Ray Taylor Show, because that's what you're listening to, and I love you. So I want you to save 25% when you use that coupon code. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/TMF and use coupon code RTS to save 25% when you start collecting one of over 1,600 original ink paintings. By myself, I made them. Support me. I love you. Back to the show. move on to one thing. Okay, a lot trying to be positive in this episode, which is why it's probably going to be a short episode compared to most swipe up episodes, because there's not just news that I'm angry about. And this I'm not necessarily angry about, considering the subject of this article is Trump. But Trump keeps telling people not to vote, which anybody that's going to listen to Trump are people that I don't want to vote. So I guess I agree with this guy for once. I mean, sure, tell your brainwashed allegiance of people not to vote, because he still thinks. Let me read. Trump is holding the Republican Party hostage to get it to quote unquote solve what he continues to falsely claim was the rigging of the 2020 election. Quote: If we don't solve the presidential election fraud of 2020, in parentheses, which we have thoroughly and conclusively documented, which all they have this documentation, they have this proof, yet none of it, they don't want to show anybody. They just like talking about it. Right? Like, I have a video that shows a person on the grassy knoll shoot and kill JFK. I have that footage, but I'm not going to show you. I'm just going to talk about it. Blah, blah, blah. Thoroughly Republicans will not be voting in the 2022 or 24 elections. Trump said in a statement, quote, "It is the single most important thing for Republicans to do, to not vote. They didn't like losing, so we're not going to play. Fine. Don't play. Let a third party, a new party, take out the Republican Party. The Republican Party that supports white supremacy, that wants to do everything to destroy the environment, that wants to do everything to make slavery and poverty and women's rights and all the things that our democracy has helped kind of establish to give humans equal rights. Let's just get rid of all of that stuff. That's the Republican Party. It's the party of following whatever cult belief you want, as long as it's damaging and improves white people. So we'll see how much they actually listen to him. I don't know. I mean, he told them to get vaccinated and they booed him. So him telling them not to vote, I could see them not voting. I mean, that's convincing people that voting doesn't work is something that, the politicians like that, because then it's easier to not rig, but it's, when you disenfranchise a bunch of people and tell them not to participate in the system, it's easier to manipulate that system through gerrymandering and voters' rights and all these things that the Republicans are doing to try and finagle a win. And it's not like the dude ever won a popular vote anyway. Fuck them. All right, moving on. Moving on to some awesome trivia, movie trivia. Something I knew about, but I saw it come up on my feed, and it's an interesting piece of movie trivia, especially when you consider the movie star that it's attributed to. This is Arnie's most profitable film. Arnold Schwarzenegger, huge action star of the 90s. And still doing movies, but it wasn't an action movie that got him the most money. It was the time where he wanted to be in a comedy, and nobody believed in him. But he convinced the studio, the director, and his co-star Danny DeVito, Ivan Reitman was the director, to take a percentage of the film instead of instead of getting paid to do the film, they were just going to get paid in a percentage of the profits. So because of that, that's his most high, because he's not getting that much back in. I think they got 40%. Let me read it. Arnold Schwarzenegger's most profitable film is Twins from 1988. Schwarzenegger, DeVito, and director Ivan Reitman all agreed to take zero salary from the studio in exchange for owning 40% of the film. It went on to earn more than $215 million worldwide. That's one thing. I mean, you have NFTs out there, which allow to, like, a smart contract is like built into it. So like if I sold an NFT of like one of my painting videos, right, which I want to do, sold one of those, I can, when creating the NFT, I can write into the creation of it that every time this sells, I get a percentage of that sale. So if I sell it to somebody for $100 and then they sell it to somebody for $1,000, I will get whatever percentage, like 20%, 10%, 30%. I can choose, but I get a percentage of that money when it sells. And it's all automatic. So the money would automatically go into my wallet whenever that person sells the thing. And it's something that he can't control. The person that owns the NFT, the person buying nobody has any, you can't go back in and adjust. So for the life of that NFT, for the life of that video file, every time it changes hands and gets sold, a percentage will go to me. And that should be something that should be baked into, like, there should be a movie studio that has the balls to set something like that up, to have the actors and directors and like a percentage of every movie should be just baked into. It just makes sense. Of course, studios don't want to do that because they like to make all the money and make bad decisions. Like Disney wants to overcharge people to just keep releasing regurgitated old classics. But yeah, this a thing that I remember watching a documentary on or seeing something on where this was Arnold Schwarzenegger's most profitable film. And it's because nobody believed that he could do comedy. And it was a funny scene. The premise of the movie Twins fits perfectly with him and Danny DeVito being twins. You know, like the genetic lottery definitely was swayed to one side of the embryo than the other. But yeah, great little story, and kind of, it's a story that encourages the idea that change, trying new things, is good. Because nobody wanted him to try new things. Listening to people say no is, if you want to do something and you believe in it, then do it. No matter how many people say no, what do they know? How they're not Arnold Schwarzenegger. All the people that said no to Arnold Schwarzenegger are not Arnold Schwarzenegger. They're not living his life. They assume to know what will happen in the future. They assume to be psychic on some level. Like, oh, that could never make money. How do you know? We've never done this with Arnold Schwarzenegger before. Oh, I just know. I'm a producer. I'm a movie studio. This is just how we do things. And we make money doing them. So I must be psychic. Anyway, let's do some shout outs and get out of here. Shout out to The Film Magic. Shout out The Film Zone. Shout out Vice News. And shout out Movie Facts. But most importantly, shout out to you. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspired disorder. Follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!